Hey everyone, Tutone back with another crime against humanity. This time my war crime of choice is Arcana Force 21, The World FTK. Though, I guess it's not technically an FTK by game terms, but it is an FTK in the sense that your opponent never gets a turn and then they lose. This is a deck listing combo originally conspired by Epic, one of the more jank-loving Spyral enthusiasts in the Discord. And hey, who doesn't want to do their best Dio impression, shout WARUDO, and then kill their opponent before they ever get to do anything? It's even on brand as a Jojo reference. This largely uses a combo shell similar to my Rongo combo that you might have seen me use in the past, though to do slightly different things, and it's a little bit more material invested. The idea is you need to get the Light Barrier field spell, which is the Arcana Force Archetype field spell, on the field, and then you can summon the world. Because of the Light Barrier effect, you can choose to use the world's turn skipping effect instead of flipping a coin, and then you should have a lethal force on your board after you do that, and kill your opponent after you skip their turn. The hardest part of this combo is getting Light Barrier on the field. Generically accessing a specific spell consistently is very hard, and for that we're using Prime Mathmech Alimbertion, one of the few cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! That generically searches any spell and is generically accessible out of the extra, so long as you can meet its fairly hefty material costs. But because we're Spyral, and we can basically do anything, we can meet those material costs. It does require 4 level 4s, even though it is generic. That is a lot of investment, and it's basically the same investment as my Rongo combo, because you would need 4 level 4 warriors to win the game with Rongo. We use the Codebreakers, similar to Rongo, and then to summon Zero Day, then you link off the 2 Link Codebreakers into Rusty Bardiche. Rusty Bardiche would get you access to Brigandine and Staingreaves, 2 more level 4s, and finally your last level 4 is probably going to be a Super Agent, though you can use any level 4 because it's not Rongo. Rongo requires warriors, and in this case you could use something like a Mothman or even a Last Resort. Like if you have an extra rescue mission lying around, you can discard Last Resort, summon it, and that's a free level 4. A big difference between this and my Rongo shell is I am using Dangers, not only because of the Mothman axis that, is kind of obvious as a level 4 extender, but because this is a much more material heavy investment strategy. The Rongo combo basically just stopped on Rongo and Sleeper and ended its turn. This, you do have to do a whole bigger separate link climb to do the material, and the Dangers are good for not just consistency, but for accessing those heavy investment boards. Speaking of that, we do need to summon the world, and for that we're using our good old stalwart in Curious plus Fireball Dragon to get Arcana to force the world into the graveyard and then bounce it to your hand, and then we'll use whatever leftover link material we have to make a 3 material at minimum Saryuja, which will then special summon the world, and if you have Light Barrier and the world on the field, you get to skip your opponent's turn and win the game. It's technically more material efficient to like use Curious, send the world, and then make a Dugaris or something, but because we're already committing so many level 4s to making Alimbertion, it's not really a good idea to try to put another rank 4 in the deck to get the combo going. So we're just using all of our 4s to go into Alimbertion, and all of the rest of our crazy Spiral Danger link material to go into Saryuja and Curious and Fireball Dragon. That's enough babbling about it, I guess. Let's show off a little gameplay for it. Alright, so here we are in a game of Ranked that I played while trying to get this video to go through, and this is the first opponent that I had that actually let me play out my combo, so we'll actually get to see it here. So here we go. This is a pretty solid hand. It's a Resort plus Small World. My opponent's got Ghost Ogre though, so I can't use Resort, so now I'm going to have to like kind of improvise here, and I'm just gonna have to go for souls and draw a card. Sometimes the combo, like, this is the thing about Spyral, if your opponent has a hand trap, sometimes you have to make some odd decisions to try to go for your combo from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and use souls, summon souls, discard a card with souls to draw a card, and then I draw a second Small World. Not a very good draw, obviously. Small World is only once per turn, so this is a useless card in my hand. So I am just going to use this Mothman, and I discard Small World and draw Spyral Resort. And there you go, Danger's adding consistency, everyone. And at this point, we do have the combo, though. There is one small hitch that will show up at one point that is a technical problem in this combo that you can kind of play around if you have to. So we'll go ahead and just do the generic stuff where we set up our Curious line. Go into Barricade Board Blocker. We don't really have to chain block our Master Plan because we know they don't have Ash at this point. They would have ashed our Resort or our Quick Fix, but we're doing this anyhow. You're obviously going to access Super Agent, summon another Resort. And what you can do in the situation, if you need to, is get 2 Super Agents off these Resorts and like summon one off of its effect and then discard another and rescue it or something to get more 4s on the field. But generally speaking, you do always want to summon search Super Agent over Sleeper. Sleeper is not necessary in this combo. It just makes the OTK line a little easier. So yeah, we're just going to continue our combo. We get a Helix on the field. I've already got the Assault mission in Graveyard thanks to the Mothman discarding it, so I could just do the Rescue mission stuff instead. So I can go ahead and Assault in Drone, stack my opponent's deck, put a useless card on top, though it doesn't matter because they're skipping. I'm skipping. Actually, I did intentionally put a good card on top of their deck for going second, which is Harpy's Feather Duster, because my opponent's not getting a turn. Why do I care what's on top of their deck? So we go into Double Hand, which is a good Curious effect. People always ask, why is Double Hand running this deck? It makes Curious. That's it. That's the only reason. Sorry. I do get my Last Resort. This is a fun thing, too. Another interesting thing about Spyral is we generically access another level 4 monster in the hand through Last Resort if you do need to, like, finagle a way to get more 4s in the field on top of Super Agent. So we're actually a pretty solid rank 4 strategy if you really need a rank 4. So I'm just going to go ahead and use Selene. This is just a material thing, but it's no big deal. Then we'll use our Link Kribo, and I'm going to use everything except Mothman because an odd thing about the situation is I couldn't do the double quick fix loop as efficiently because this Mothman was sucking up one of my zones. But this Mothman is a level 4, so I don't want to link it off or anything. I want to keep it on the field for Alan Burschen. So I'm kind of playing a little haphazardly because I didn't have all my zones available to me. So I'm going to use Curious to send the world, and then Curious Random Mills. And Curious Random Mills my my Ancient Cloak. And Ancient Cloak is the way I add Stained Greaves to my hand, which is really annoying because that means I'm going to be down a level 4. This is technically one of the risks of this combo is your Curious can mill any of your Phantom Knights cards, which will decrease the number of level 4s you have generically accessible from the extra deck, which means you might have to improvise with Super Agent and Last Resort, like I said. So I am going to have to improvise a little bit, but not a whole lot, and we'll see that in just a second. So I'll use Quick Fix, add Big Red, you know, just getting cards in hand. I don't really need it anymore. And setting up my Link Climbs, Fireball Dragon can add WARUDO to my hand, and then we can go ahead and do a little more linking. This is the Fire Swordsman. There we go. Get our Codebreaker 0 Day, and then we'll make the bigger virus. And summon the small virus and the smallest virus. I'm going to leave him on the field as a level 4. Add Sweeper at this point, because why not? It didn't really matter. We'll go into Rusty Bardiche. I will use Rescue Mission to summon Helix, because I do need a Helix on field. I need a Super Agent on field for Quick Fix, because I need to link up into Saryuja before I do anything else. I need to get my material set up, and this is the way I'm doing that. I'm going to use Saryuja Skull Dread. So now I've got 2 level 4s and Saryuja, like 3 of Saryuja. At this point, I just need to make Alan Burschen. So I do thankfully still have the Stained Greaves in my deck, so I can go ahead and set Brigandine. Brigandine does have a slightly annoying catch-all where you can't have any traps in the graveyard, which to activate it, which means you have to use up all your rescues before you do this part of the play. So keep that in mind. But I did have the Brigandine, I do have the Super Agent. My worst case scenario would have been I would have had to discard like Last Resort and Rescue Mission Last Resort or something to get another 4 if I had like milled both of my level 4s, but then I could have just used my Codebreakers to make Saryuja, so I would have had more material to do it. It's a little bit, there's a lot of improvisational aspects to this kind of combo because the Curious can randomly mill your rank 4 setups, but it's playable no matter how you do it. So there we go, and now I have Saryuja, and I have Alan Burschen. This is the last piece of the puzzle. Add Light Barrier to hand. Or, yeah. Play Light Barrier. Special Summon Arcana Force the World. Skip my opponent's next turn. Summon Sleeper. And because we do make Rusty Bardiche and Alan Burschen, one of the costs of the world's effect at the end of your turn to skip your opponent's turn, you have to send 2 monsters to the graveyard. But as you might be able to tell, thanks to Saryuja, I have just enough monsters if I send Alan Burschen and Rusty to make a lethal force. I do a quick Last Resort because why not, but the world will now trigger. I will send Alan Burschen and Rusty, which are just generically left over at the end of the combo. Due to the card's effect, the turn is skipped. We are now in turn 3, and I have 31, 34, and 28, and that is game. You have to go through the Light Barrier effect, but it does not matter, because that is very, very easily game. And there you go, the World FTK. Even with a bad Curious Mill in a really awkward starting hand where I didn't have a lot of material in hand, we got there pretty trivially. And yeah, that's a pretty ridiculous FTK. Before I sign out here, I will say this is not a good deck. So let me get back to the deck profile real quick. Let me back out of my replays and kind of show you my deck. So I can kind of go over why this isn't actually good. It's just very funny to pull off. So here we go. So here's the deck one last time before we sign out. And the problem with this deck, as you might have been able to tell by the way I was playing, is it runs a ton of bricks. Let's count them. We have the 3 PK bricks. We have a Cloak, Greaves, and Brigandine, so that's 3 PK bricks, though Brigandine isn't a hard brick, the other 2 are. Then we've got, obviously, the 2 World bricks. You need Light Barrier in the World in the deck. And then we have the Codebreaker brick, so that's 6 ancillary bricks just to enable the combo. On top of the already slightly bricky cards in Spyral, like, Sleeper and Last Resort, and sometimes the missions can be bricky, etc., etc. So, the downside of this deck is it's incredibly bricky. The upside of this deck is you get to resolve the world and then do a Jojo pose and make fun of your opponent for losing to such a janky combo. Anyhow, that's the combo, gang. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, throw a like, comment, subscribe, anything like that, and I'll see y'all next time. Have a good one. Bye.